Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be really taking a deep dive into AI-powered design.
Exciting stuff.
It is, and specifically, we're going to be looking at Looker and Canva.
Two of the big players, yeah.
Exactly, and I think a lot of you out there listening are probably trying to figure out, like, okay, which one is right for me? Which one's going to help me take my branding and marketing to the next level?
So
That is our mission for this deep dive.
awesome.
We have a great comparison article that we are going to be kind of pulling from, extracting the most relevant insights for you guys. And hopefully by the end of this, you'll be like, okay, boom, I know exactly what to do.
Sounds good.
So the first thing that really jumped out to me in this article was just how much both Looka and Canva emphasize being user-friendly.
Yeah, and that's a huge deal, especially for, startups or small businesses that maybe don't have like a massive design budget.
Totally. They don't have the money to go hire like a big fancy agency or something.
Right, exactly.
So they're both really focused on being budget conscious as well, which is fantastic.
And I think it's easy to underestimate how much of a difference even just having a basic logo can make for your business.
Oh, absolutely.
Just that little bit of visual identity can really boost your credibility and help people remember you.
Yeah, it's like that instant injection of professionalism, and it's so important, especially when you're first starting out. So, okay, let's dive into Looka specifically. One of the things that I thought was super cool about Looka was that they actually use AI to help you create logo designs.
Pretty neat,
Yeah, it's not just like picking from a bunch of pre-made templates. I mean, it actually generates designs based on like your company name in your industry.
Yeah, it's pretty clever how they use that technology to take some of the guesswork out of it for you.
And yet it doesn't just stop at the logo. They also give you a whole brand kit, which was something I hadn't really heard of before, but it seems like a pretty big deal.
It's a game changer, honestly. Think about it. You get templates for everything, from email signatures to social media posts, advertisements, even presentations, all designed to match your brand.
Okay, wait, hold on. So back up a little bit. What exactly does a brand kit include, and why is that so valuable?
Sure. So a brand kit is basically like, imagine all the core visual elements of your brand all packaged together. So that's like your logo, obviously, but also things like your color palette, the specific fonts you use, even image styles.
So it's like having a mini design guide to keep your branding consistent across the board.
Exactly. And that consistency is what makes you look professional and memorable. It tells people you've put thought and effort into your brand, and that builds trust.
That makes total sense. You know, I've definitely seen those businesses where their marketing materials look totally different depending on where you see them. It's kind of jarring, honestly.
Right. It's like they have multiple personalities, and that can be confusing for customers.
So a brand kit makes you look way more put together and trustworthy. Okay, I am sold on the brand kit idea. Now let's talk about Canva. I feel like Canva is kind of the, I don't know, like the cool kid in school when it comes to design, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. Canva is definitely more of a design powerhouse. It's not just about logos. You can create basically anything on there, right?
I mean, I know people use it for everything. Videos, presentations, social media graphics, even websites. It's super versatile.
Oh, and don't forget their collaboration features. It's really easy for teams to work together on Canva, which is a huge plus if you're doing any kind of group project.
Yeah, I actually use Canva all the time.
Great.
Just for simple stuff like making a quick social media post, or if I need to, like design a resume.
It's so easy to use.
Yeah, their drag and drop interface is a total lifesaver, even if you don't have a ton of design experience.
For sure.
Okay, so we've talked about the shiny, exciting parts of both platforms, but we've got to be real here. Every tool has its strengths and weaknesses.
Right. There's no magic bullet, unfortunately.
So let's get into the pros and cons, starting with Looka. What did you think of the article's breakdown of Looka's advantages and disadvantages?
I thought it was pretty spot on, actually.
Okay, good.
Looka definitely scores high points for user-friendliness. I mean, the AI really does a lot of the heavy lifting for you, especially when it comes to creating the logo.
And that whole branding suite thing, that seems like a major time saver too, right? Like if you need to get all your marketing materials looking consistent quickly, Looka seems like it could be a great option.
Absolutely. And they also provide high-resolution files, which is essential if you're going to be using your designs for print or anything like that.
That's good to know because sometimes you'll get a logo and it looks great on your computer, but then you try to print it and it's all pixelated and blurry.
Exactly. You don't want that.
So, okay, if you're someone who needs a professional-looking brand, but maybe doesn't have a lot of time or design expertise, Looka sounds like it could be a good fit. But what about the downsides? What are some of the things that people should watch out for?
Well, one thing that the article mentioned was that Looka can be a little bit limiting when it comes to customization.
Oh, how so?
Like once you've kind of gone through the initial design process and you've purchased your logo, you might not have as much flexibility to tweak things as you would with other tools.
So you're kind of trading off a bit of control for that speed and simplicity.
Exactly. And there's also the pricing structure to consider. While their basic logo package is super affordable, if you want access to all those cool branding tools, it's going to cost you more.
So it might not be as budget-friendly as it seems at first glance, depending on what you need.
Right. And while the AI-generated designs are generally pretty good, the article did point out that they can sometimes feel a bit similar to each other.
Oh, interesting. So there's a risk of ending up with a logo that looks a little too much like someone else's?
It's a possibility.
Ah.
And because Looka relies heavily on templates, you might not have quite as much creative freedom as you would if you were starting from scratch.
That makes sense. And last but not least, the refund policy. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, so the article mentioned that Looka's refund policy is pretty strict. You really want to be sure about your design choices before you commit.
So do your research, take your time, don't rush into anything.
Exactly.
Okay, so it sounds like Looka is a solid choice for speed, simplicity, and getting that cohesive brand identity. But if you're someone who really values unique design and wants like complete control over every little detail, it might not be the perfect fit.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Awesome. Now let's flip the script and talk about Canva's pros and cons. What stood out to you from the article?
Well, like we talked about earlier, I think Canva's biggest strength is its versatility. But the article also highlighted how user-friendly and affordable it is, especially that free plan. I mean, you get access to a ton of features without spending a dime, which is pretty amazing.
I know. For someone who's just starting out or maybe just needs design tools for personal use, that's a huge deal.
Huge.
But I'm guessing there's some trade-offs, right? Like nothing's perfect.
True. The article did mention that while Canva is great for a wide range of design tasks, you might run into limitations if you're working on really complex projects that need more advanced editing features.
So it's great for everyday design needs, but maybe not for professional level, super specialized stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. And of course, since it's an online platform, you need an internet connection to use it, which can be a problem for some people.
Yeah, if you're ever working offline or traveling somewhere with spotty internet, that could be a deal breaker.
For sure.
Okay, so we've covered the features, the pros, the cons, but I think it's time to talk about that all-important factor, pricing. Let's break down the cost for each platform.
All right, sounds good. Let's start with Looka. They have a few different pricing tiers.
Okay, how does that work?
Their most basic option is the basic logo package, which costs $20. This gets you a single PNG file of your logo.
Gotcha. So that's good for someone who just needs a simple logo, doesn't need all the bells and whistles.
Exactly. Then they have the premium logo package for $65, which gives you multiple file types and commercial use rights, which is important if you're using your logo for your business.
Okay, so those are the options if you're really just focused on getting a logo. But what if you want the full branding shebang, like all the templates and stuff?
For that, you'd want to look at their brand kit subscription, which is $96 a year. This gives you access to all those brand assets we talked about earlier, plus the ability to edit your logo as needed.
Oh, nice. So you get ongoing access to everything.
Exactly. And if you also need a website, they offer a brand kit web subscription for $192 a year. This includes a website builder and some advanced support options.
Wow, so they really do have an option for every need and budget.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Okay, now let's talk about Canva's pricing. How does that compare?
Canva's pricing is a little bit simpler. They have their free plan, which we've already gushed about, and then they have two main paid options: the Pro plan and the Teams plan.
Okay, break those down for me.
The Pro plan starts at $99.99 per year, and it gives you a bunch of premium features like more templates, a background remover tool, and way more storage space.
So more features and flexibility for a yearly fee. Sounds pretty reasonable. And what about Teams?
Their Teams plan is perfect for that. It's designed for collaboration and starts at $129.90 per year for up to 5 users.
Oh, nice. So if you've got multiple people working on designs, that's the way to go. Okay, so one key difference between Looka and Canva is that Looka offers those one-time purchase options for just the logo, while Canva's pricing is more subscription-based.
Yeah, that's a good point. It really depends on how you prefer to pay for your design tools and what kind of ongoing access you need.
Absolutely. All right, so we've gone through a ton of information today. We've talked about the features, the pros, the cons, the pricing. It's a lot to process. Help me out here. What's the verdict? Which platform is the ultimate winner?
Well, honestly, there's no easy answer. The article doesn't declare a clear winner. And I think that's because the best choice really depends on your specific needs and priorities. It's all about finding the right tool for the job.
Okay, so to help our listeners figure out which platform is right for them, let's do a quick recap of what we've learned about each one. Would you say that Looka is more of a focused solution, specifically for creating a cohesive brand identity from logo to marketing materials?
Yeah, I think that's a great summary. If you need a quick and easy way to create a professional brand, especially if you're not a design expert, Looka is a great place to start.
And Canva, on the other hand, is more about giving you a wider range of creative tools. It's ideal for teams and for people who want to design all kinds of different things, not just branding stuff. So maybe a bit more creative freedom and flexibility, but not as specialized when it comes to branding specifically.
Exactly. Canva is like a design playground where you can experiment and create all sorts of content.
I love that. So it's not about which platform is objectively better. It's about figuring out which one aligns with your goals, your preferences, and your budget.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, this has been super helpful. I feel like we've really unpacked the whole Looka versus Canva debate.
Oh,
But before we move on, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question.
okay, hit me.
We've talked about all these features and capabilities, but I think the most important question to ask yourself is, what are your branding priorities right now?
Such a good point.
Are you just starting out and you need a logo ASAP? Or are you looking for a more comprehensive branding solution that will help you grow your business over time? Once you know what you need, it's much easier to pick the right tool.
Absolutely.
And hey, don't forget, both Looka and Canva offer free versions of their platforms.
Right.
So why not take both of them for a test drive? Play around with the templates, get a feel for the interfaces, and see which one you vibe with more. Hands-on experience is always the best way to figure out what you like.
Couldn't agree more. Don't be afraid to experiment.
All right, folks, that is our deep dive into Looka versus Canva. I hope you're feeling inspired to go forth and conquer your next design project. But before you go,
We've got more to explore. We've talked about these specific platforms, but now I want to zoom out and talk about the bigger picture of AI in design. It's a pretty wild world out there. It's pretty amazing to think about how these tools, Looka and Canva, are just one small part of this much larger trend of AI in design. It's kind of blowing my mind, honestly.
yeah, I was just thinking that too. Like we've talked about these specific platforms, but where does this all go from here? What's the bigger picture?
Well, for starters, think back to just a few years ago. If you wanted a professional logo or a website designed, you pretty much had to shell out a ton of money to hire a designer.
Oh my gosh, yes. It was so expensive, especially for like small businesses and startups who were just getting off the ground. I remember when I was first starting out, I had all these big ideas for my website and my marketing materials, but like zero design skills and even less money to hire someone to do it for me.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. And that's exactly the problem that these AI design tools are solving. They're giving anyone with a computer the power to create professional-looking designs, regardless of their budget. It's really democratizing design in a way that we've never seen before.
It's so true. It's like leveling the playing field and giving everyone a chance to create a strong visual identity. But I do have a question about that. Isn't there a risk that all designs will start to look the same if everyone's using the same AI tools and templates?
That's a valid concern, for sure. We don't want to end up in a world where everything looks generic and cookie cutter, but I think the key is to use these tools as a starting point, not the final product. Like, don't just blindly accept the first design the AI spits out, Play around with it, experiment, make it your own.
So it's all about finding that balance, right? Taking advantage of the efficiency and the convenience of AI, but still infusing your own unique style and personality into your designs.
Exactly. And the possibilities are really exciting when you start thinking about how this technology could evolve in the next few years.
Okay, I'm ready. Paint me a picture of the future.
Well, right now, AI can create some pretty impressive designs based on basic information like your company name and industry. But what if you could have an AI that actually analyzes your target audience, your brand values, your competitors, and then creates a completely customized visual identity that's perfectly tailored to you?
Wow, that would be a total game changer. It's like having a personal AI branding consultant working for you around the clock. No more scrolling through endless templates trying to find the perfect one. And imagine the time it would save.
Exactly. Time that you could be spending on other aspects of your business, like connecting with your audience or creating amazing content. And it doesn't stop there. Think about AI tools that could automatically adapt your branding across different platforms. So your website, your social media, your email marketing, all instantly consistent and up to date without you having to do anything.
Okay, now you're just making me drool. But seriously, that would be incredible.